How goes it all? Welcome back to Patterson Properties. Hopefully you guys are having an awesome day. Today's subject matter, I'm going to be talking about this great book that I just finished reading, and I was like, hey, I got to talk about it, especially given the fact that I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Nathan Tabor back in the summertime at a real estate convention. Now, the book, obviously the name is How to Find, Finance, Fix, or Flip Apartments from Duplexes to 100-unit complexes. A lot of great information. If you have a chance, check it out on Amazon. This book had a lot of great information, and it really had a lot of great information in regards to the one-on-one aspects, steps one should do when it comes to starting in an apartment and duplex investment business. And I'm just going to go over some of the favorite aspects of the book that I find that are my favorite aspects of it. And the number one thing that I liked about this book is that Nathan Tabor talked about real life situations that he encountered from beginning to the present of his real estate journey. I actually, like I said, I had the pleasure of meeting him. Very nice guy, and definitely gave me a lot of pointers that I took down and I'm trying to implement to this day in my real estate journey. And hopefully some of these points that I'm going to go over today, you guys can implement them in your real estate journey if you're new or still in it. But hey, we're all students of any industry or game that we're in. So I will definitely say that. And I like books that give those real life examples and stories that give those real life examples, because not everything in business, most people know, is 1, 2, 3. And especially in real estate, it's not 1, 2, 3. Things can occur at any moment, at any time, and you just got to be prepared and ready to take on the challenges. And one great thing that I can point out about Mr. Tabor is consistently he reiterated was to be successful in real estate investment game. To be successful, you have to be focused. We all know that that really means turning off the TV, not paying a lot of attention to things that have nothing to do with business or businesses that you're actually in. Mr. Tabor talked about the importance of a business plan, because when one presents a deal to a bank or another investor, they do not, and if they do not have a business plan, then they will think that you just want to jump on a plane, but you don't really know where you're actually going in your actual final destination, and that's obviously not going to make you look too professional, and that could hurt your current or future relationships with any other organizations and any other individuals. And in short, they will think that you are the kind of off and most likely will not want to deal with you, and you just don't want that. So the book stated that a detailed business plan establishes the real estate niche. What aspect of real estate are you really trying to do? Are you trying to do just commercial when it comes to commercial real estate, where there's going to be buildings, warehouses, things of that nature? Or are we going residential commercial to where, people, apartment complexes? Or depending on where you are, like me, in places like Allentown, Pennsylvania, Reading, Pennsylvania, where I invest at, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, you have places where you have an apartment. It's like a kind of like an old town, downtown atmosphere. We have an apartment on top, but then you have a business on the bottom, kind of like people would see in New York City or Washington, D.C. They still have a lot of places that are like that. And a lot of places like that are actually lucrative for real estate investors, just depending on how you look at the situation, But when it really boils down to it, you got to figure out what's your niche, what are you really trying to do? And Mr. Tabor stated that the single document, your business plan, is the greatest asset in you securing an investor. And when it comes to flipping homes, you have to always ensure that you find the deals that fit your business model. That's another thing, because not every deal is right for you or me. That's just how it is. Meaning becoming good at analyzing your market or markets, pulling comparable properties by working with local real estate brokers or using online platforms like LoopNet. The list could go on and on. And Mr. Tabor talked about in the book about his situation where he found an apartment complex, and the land that the complex was actually on, he actually went through a lot of trouble trying to figure out who, as far as going through the specific EPA inspections, was it going to be through the federal government? Was it going to be through the state, local county? He had, because the place had so many issues, and he already had to fix the place up. But in order to ensure to make it sure it was up to code, he had to figure out which government agency he had to deal with. Or if the property has, been cleared by the specific agency. You need to obviously know these things, and there's way more to it. But I'm just going over a little bit of the one-on-one aspects of it, and sure that the property taxes are in order as well. These things, because a lot of times you'll fall upon a deal where you won't find this out, especially if you're paying cash for something. You won't know if that's actually everyth's taken care of. It's different when you're getting a loan, and obviously at the closing table, the title company's going to ensure that all this stuff is clear. But a lot of times they won't even know, because I'll give you an example. A friend of mine that I work with and grew up with, he just bought a house for himself, got a loan, went through the whole conventional process and still found out that the home, because the onus was on him and his agent to find this information out, that actually the home has structural issues that has not been cleared by the city that he resides in. So stuff can always happen. You got to be prepared for the storm. And you got to do your due diligence all at the same time, whether it's for a personal loan, for business loan, or whatever have you, you know. And that's one of the things about this book that I really liked, and because it really broke down how one should approach things when it comes to creating their investor packets. And here's a couple of ditties that Mr. Tabor went over in his book. You know, because you got to ensure that the potential of the deal is the most important element. The design of the packet needs to be professional. Make sure it's easy to read and follow when it comes to presenting a deal to an investor and to a bank, because you know there's always going to be questions, but you want to ensure that it's not questions to where they don't truly understand. They just want to ensure that everything is up to the standard to ensure that they can invest with you or ensure that they can give you the loan. You know, when it comes to the bank or an investor, it just depends on your situation. You know, he stated too, create a hook. Why is a deal good to pass up? Because sometimes a deal might be good, but it just might not be for you. So you got to figure out what really works for you at the end of the day. Share the backstory of the property, you know, in regards to the deal when you present it to your investor or the bank. Provide details about how it got to the condition that that property is actually in and whether the condition is good or not. You know, all this information and much more that I wasn't going to cover everything in the book because we'd probably be here for about a couple hours and whatnot. We don't have that kind of time. Mr. Tabor stated in his book that these aspects, among other things, are key to buying investment portfolios. Remember that being a real estate investor is a business. Always remember that. And you have to treat it as such. Mr. Tabor stated that in his book, he really highlighted that one needs to get into the habit of trying to work with partners. Always ensure that you define the terms. Partnering up with others can allow you to also obtain more access to capital for your current or future deals. Great example, I just had a meeting with a gentleman yesterday in regards to acquiring commercial real estate in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Now, I've been trying to find more partners because I wanted to be able to do more deals so that I can grow my real estate portfolio. Great individual, we'll have more meetings and hopefully we'll be able to secure some sort of a commercial deal within the year 2020. But that's what it's all about. I'm not just talking about it, I'm doing it. And I hope you're not just talking about it, I hope you're doing it as well, because it's easy. It's just easier to go with the crowd, but it's very hard to stand alone and go the opposite direction. And that's what me, and hopefully for you, 2020 is all about. Go in the opposite direction. Do not be a part of the crowd. That's the easy route. Let's work smart, not hard, but let's not try to make everything so freaking easy. And then obviously, you know, ensure that you define the terms. After you define the terms of the deal, you know, make sure that everything is in your best interest to consult and then hire an attorney when it comes to these, because these are bigger deals. We're not just talking about individual properties, we're talking about commercial properties. It's in one's best interest to consult an attorney. That's what I'm going to do with my first commercial deal, and I hope you do the same thing, because when it comes to big deals, you could definitely get hurt a lot easier compared to smaller deals. So the book obviously went over one's options when it comes to different kinds of loans, such as financing, HUD loans, Fannie Mae, USDA loans. A lot of people are not even familiar with that when it comes to those USDA agricultural loans, you know, equity partners, investors, hard money lenders, and private money lenders. There's so many different options out there nowadays. Last but definitely not least, he went over the 9 laws of obtaining an apartment and having an apartment when it comes to being an investor. Number 1, he stated, be knowledgeable, know and learn the business, or hire someone who can help you. That is definitely a no-brainer in my personal opinion, because nobody knows everything. I don't know everything, and we're all students of any industry or game that we're in, and we should carry ourselves accordingly when it comes to that. Number 2, be thorough. Due diligence and a renovation budget are critical. Number 3, be 21st century. Obviously, from our millennials and the younger generation, we know this, but sometimes other people need to have this reiterated to them. Technology is your friend, from databases to social media. Utilize it. Make life easier for you so we can work smart and not hard. Be structured. Have systems in place that are reliable, transferable, and highly structured. Absolutely. Because you never know when you're going to have to transition to another system or to another level, or maybe transition to another state. So then you have to be able to ensure that you can transition everything to ensure that it's an effective process so that you can continuously buy more real estate. Number 5, be involved. The multifamily business is not a hobby or a part-time business. It's a 24-hour-a-day business. And like my last closing, one of my property managers, she said, hey, we don't get a day off in real estate. It's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I agree with that. A lot of people are like, well, why would you want to do real estate if it's like that when you could just work a 40-hour job a week and know when your days are off and all that good stuff? Well, there's a difference. If I'm successful in real estate, I can live wherever I want. If I'm successful with a job, my options are limited. So I'm in a sense, when it comes to my life now, I have the Master P mentality. I want no limits. So hopefully you guys have the same mindset all at the same time. Okay. Number 6, be capitalized. Meaning having little to no cash on the balance sheet is a recipe for disaster. When it comes to real estate, do your darndest to save every single penny that you can, like you're making minimum wage or you just got out of high school, because you never know. Always expect the unexpected when it comes to real estate or anything in life. You need those backup plans because the storm will always come. Be unshakable. People will cause issues. When you're dealing with people, you're always going to have issues. And when you're dealing with real estate, you know you're going to have issues. So be ready to expect the unexpected. Be scalable. Number 8, it takes as much time to do a 10-unit complex as it does a 100-unit complex. So you got to be ready. Be prosperous. Number 9, fixing and flipping will make you a lot of money if done the right way. And, like they said, and I was listening to a podcast today, and I tend to have to agree with this. Don't make it all about the money. If you have passion and if you have purpose, then the money will come when it comes to anything in life. Now, obviously, us in the real estate industry, it's about the money, but you got to take care of your building. You got to take care of your people, make sure your people are in a safe environment and whatnot. And if you have purpose, then you're going to do great things, because a lot of times you go overboard with being greedy. It doesn't always work out in your favor. So that's one thing I can say. His book ended with this awesome ditty that never, basically just stated this: never let anyone tell you that you cannot do something just because they can't do it themselves. We all have haters at work, our family members, and your inner circle. Lastly, failure happens for 2 reasons. 1, people do not try, care, or show up when they're supposed to. And most times people just too much busy being on their phones and not handling business when it comes to being on the phones. Reason number 2 is because people try to care, they show up and take chances while working hard. However, things don't work out, but they analyze the situation and press on. And that is all we can do, is keep trying to press on in this life and our goals and aspirations. I'm asking you all out there to do the same thing. Keep pushing and keep hustling. And don't listen to anybody that's telling you you can't do it. Because guess what? Because they couldn't doesn't mean you couldn't. Will and determination will get you anywhere in this life. And another thing I will say, if you're still hanging out with people that you went to high school with or college with, and they haven't evolved past high school and college, and they haven't evolved past 15 or 10 years ago, it's time to let them go. Because you got too many people out here that just want to talk about what happened back in the day. I want to talk about what's happening now and what's going on in the future. And let's make it happen in the future, people. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Please give it a like, share, please subscribe. If you're in the wholesale business in the DMV area and the Pennsylvania area, inbox me. We can do some business. It's all about relationships. Let's meet up and do something. And if you haven't started today, start today. Buy some real estate. It's never a good time. It's never a bad time. Just do it. That's my personal opinion. When you're ready to do it, just do it. Okay? So hopefully you guys have a great day. Take care.